Mike Bohn joined now by Ian Machado Garry, who's fighting Michael Venom Page, UFC 303. Ian, thank you for doing this. I know you kind of kept it low key throughout this camp, and 8 days from now, weigh-ins will be done, face-off will be done. All that'll be left is the fight. How great is that to think about?
I love fighting. I'm so excited. Obviously, this is going to be a big card, a lot of big names, a lot of big fights. And I'm excited to go out there and show the world that I am the hardest puzzle to solve. And I'm going to go out there and do this with beautiful ease.
Yeah, and I mentioned you kind of keeping it low key throughout camp. I think I saw Ariel Helwani mention that like you kind of did this a little bit in isolation, like an island in Brazil or something. Is this accurate? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
It's realigning my focuses and my priorities, and really just honing in on becoming the greatest martial artist I can be. And for me, it's focusing on entirely on me, my team, my family, and giving them the time they deserve. And as of now, we are coming very close to fight week, which I know I'm going to do interviews. I know I'm going to do media. I know I'm going to put my voice out there, and I'm going to put my body on the stage on Saturday night, June 29th. But for now, until now, I have been focusing on me, my family, my team, my loved ones, being the best human I possibly can be, but mentally preparing to become a world champion, realigning my priorities. This is the first fight I've ever fought where I'm fighting someone down in the rankings. I'm adopting that championship mentality of I will fight anyone and everyone because I am the best, and I'm going to prove it against anyone I need to do it against.
Yeah, and you mentioned fighting down the rankings. I mean, we don't need to go into all the stuff about fighting Colby. I mean, that's in the past now. It didn't happen. But yeah, at what point did it come to you of like, okay, Colby's not going to fight. I just want to be on this card this date. We know the reasons why originally. And is that ultimately why you took the fight with Michael?
The only reason I'm fighting anyone is on June 29th is because I wanted to fight the same card as Conor. I wanted to represent Ireland side by side with Conor and do our country proud. The two biggest stars in sport, in mixed martial arts sport in Ireland, representing our country on the biggest stage possible, breaking records in the UFC, which Conor already did. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do that together as a team and represent our country. I was willing to fight anyone and everyone. And MVP is the only guy that said yes.
What was that couple days like, after you heard Conor was out? What's that?
Days. Dude, finding Conor was out. I was on a holiday.
Okay.
I was on holiday. I knew where you were going. I was playing golf. I had no phone, no nothing, no connection to social media, anything. My team told me when we finished the holiday, oh yeah, by the way, Conor's out. And I'm like, that sucks. I still have a job to go do. I still have to go out there and I have to go out and prove that I am the best fighter in the welterweight division. I have to add that number 15 to this beautiful tally T and take MVP's scalp. I have to go out there and do it in beautiful fashion. And now I'm the one carrying the flag for Ireland. We were going to do it, but I'm still doing it. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to prove that the fighting Irish are still in force, that we're going to do it together. And when we go to war, we go to war. And I'm carrying that flag.
And I know your true dream in mixed martial arts in this career is to be that UFC champion undefeated, but this was like kind of a side quest, a nice thing on the bucket list I'm sure you would have liked. How do you react to it now? Are you just like, I got to accept the reality? Maybe it doesn't happen. Maybe we can make this work again in the future.
As for me, it was going to be a full circle moment. Mm-hmm. Being that kid in Dublin, going into school every Monday morning, talking about Conor's press conferences and Conor's fights and talking to all of my friends and that build-up, that excitement that he brought to Ireland and the buzz that he created. For me to be that kid in school talking about him, to be sat on the same stage as him at the press conference and then step in the same octagon as him that night and go out there and represent our country on the biggest stage possible would have been a dream come true. But God has other plans, and God works in mysterious ways. And I'm excited to see Conor back. And maybe, just maybe, this means we get our Ireland event. Maybe this means we get to bring it back to Ireland and we can main and co-main together.
That would be incredible. If like Conor was never on this card and you were looking to fight, I know there was some talk about maybe doing this in Manchester. Like, was that against your timeline, or would you have just moved on to something else if they really wanted it there? How did that all go?
Listen, I wanted to fight on June 29th. I'm fighting on June 29th. Ain't nobody on this planet making me fight any other day.
Was it close at all to being 5 rounds? I know you threw that out there.
I'd love it right now. I'd still love 5 rounds. I think the more time and opportunity that you give me to read people and dissect people's games and their plans and everything, the more beautiful a performance I'm going to go out there and have. I just get better and better and better as the rounds go on. So for me, I would always want to fight 5 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, I figured originally when they did the card, I was a little surprised when you guys were the main card opener, and I was like, maybe they're just, trying to do this, started off with the bang. But when everything shuffled, I was really surprised that you guys weren't the co-main event. Were you expecting that at all? Like, any idea why you guys aren't in that spot?
The truth is, it's too perfect a time for the European audience.
That's what I
Me and MVP are massive in Europe, right? He brings the English, I bring the Irish, but we both attract that attention and that timing in Europe. And it's the most reasonable time. So to be honest, I think it was going to be the opener for the Conor card anyway. And then Conor finishes it off. So I'm not surprised at all that it's that. It makes the most sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. One of our reporters did an interview with Michael. I don't know how well you guys actually know each other, or what history you have, but he said that you don't seem to be your usual self leading up to this fight, meaning that he's gone after some opponents harder in interviews and things like that. It seems like he respects me and he's not being his usual self towards me. What do you kind of make of that? And do you feel like you're being out of character at all leading up to this fight?
I've never met or talked to Michael ever. So I don't know how he'd be able to pull that out of his arse. I've always been respectful to people and my opponents. You see me every single time. I always offer respect. It's only until people say stupid shit that I call them out on it. That's it.
Yep. As you got to know him a little bit, I mean, we know let's talk about the fight a little bit. Like he is tricky, right? We've seen this, like he does some unique stuff in terms of his fighting style. What do you do to prepare for that? Did you bring anyone special in, or do you feel like if you just train the way you train, you got this?
MVP is very talented at one specific skill set, and that's at points kickboxing. Mm-hmm. The in-out motions he has, the feints, the way he can kind of draw people into his game. He's very, very good at it. But I'm better.
Yep. He said he thinks this is going to be a 2-minute fight. Can you imagine a world where this lasts 2 minutes, or do you think it's going to be a little more tactical than that?
All right. Let's see this. You think he thinks it's going to be a 2-minute fight? I bet you he throws 3 shots in 2 minutes. I bet you he's super cautious and he's super careful because he knows how dangerous I am. I bet you he's going to be shitting himself and he is going to be frozen. He's going to do his stupid handwork, his footwork. He's going to do that because what he wants is reactions. He wants me to react. He wants me to open up or try do something. I guarantee you, go watch the first fight he had or the second fight he had with Douglas Lima.
Yeah.
And watch how many shots he threw in the first 2.5 minutes. I know, 2. He's going to be very, very similar. And he ain't going to knock me out. He ain't going to touch me. He ain't going to finish me. He is going to be swimming. I am going to absolutely dominate him in every way, shape, and form physically possible.
Do you think you'll have to be more disciplined in this fight than you've ever been? Or do you feel like, as you're kind of saying there, like you're going to be the aggressor here, you're just going to, it's going to be one-way traffic in that sense?
Did you see my fight with Jeff Venom? Did you see how cautious I was with him? That guy hits like a truck.
Yep.
And I was very patient in that fight. I was very patient because I knew the power he possessed. I've seen him knock people's lights out. I was very, very technically perfect in that fight. And I dominated the knees, the elbows, the kick combos, the elusivity that I had. This fight, in my mind, it's going to be a further distance. And both of us are going to try meet in that distance where he wants me to come in or I want him to come in. And I think it's just going to be a game of tug of war. Who's going to enter that no man's land? Who's going to take the first step? And I genuinely don't see a world where it's MVP.
And I know we're short on time here, Ian, so I just kind of want to get you out on this. Obviously, your fight, huge for the division. Next month in Manchester, we have the title on the line between Leon and Bilal. I know Shavkat is doing great work in this division. He doesn't have a fight booked. I know he's been injured. But as we get to like the end of July, after all this shakes out, what do you think the division looks like going forward? Who's the champion and who are they talking about as the next guy fighting for the belt?
I mean, it's hard to bet against Leon. It's hard to see what he's done over the last 2 years and the way he's been able to evolve and dominate. He's very, very talented. You know, I've been able to spend time with a renegade until he shat the bed and his coaches got scared, but he's very, very talented. He's very well-rounded, and I think he's a problem for everyone in the division because he's that good. It's going to take someone of my caliber, of Shavkat's caliber, to come up here and really bring him to the wire and prove that we are the new generation in this sport and take that belt from him. So for me, I see Leon still being the champ come the end of July, and I genuinely do see Shavkat being the next guy who's going to get the opportunity.
And so you think you probably need to do one more and then the title shot?
No, I don't think I probably need to do one more. I want one more. I'm not rushing. I've told you this for a long time. I had 6 fight plans. I have that plan. It's still in full flight. And when I'm ready, I will take a crack at that belt and I will get my belt. I will get my crown and I will dominate this division for as long as I want to.
Are we done with Colby? Are you even going to attempt to revisit that?
He's the one who ran. If he wants to fight, the fight's there. I will dog walk him in that octagon and I will rid him from the UFC. End of.
There we go. All right, Ian. I know I'd love to talk to you more, but we'll do that next week. I'll be in Vegas Monday. And you'll be out there. So we'll talk in person next time. Appreciate you, man.
I'll see you then, pal. Take care. All the best.
Travels. Thank you, man.